to His Excellency Mr. Wang Yi, Minister for Foreign Affairs of China.
Mr. President, China welcomes the unanimous adoption of the resolution by the Security Council. The resolution embodies the broad consensus of the international community, demonstrates the important role of the Security Council, reflects the keen aspiration of the Syrian people, and lends fresh impetus to the political settlement of the Syrian issue. We must follow through on it with a view to translating consensus into action and expectation into reality. The protracted conflict in the past 5 years has brought Syria, a country with time-honored civilization, to ruins. Large numbers of Syrians have been displaced and unable to return to their home. What is worse, it has become a hotbed where radical ideas breed and spread, as well as a playground of terrorists, posing a grave threat to peace and security of the region and beyond. As such, the international community should work towards the political settlement of the issue with a stronger sense of urgency and responsibility. For 5 years, the international effort to seek a political settlement has been relentless. This on and off political process has its ups and downs. We need to build on successful experience, learn the lessons, and press ahead with the political process firmly and steadily so that it can be put on an irreversible path. First, we must remain committed to the goal of political settlement. What has happened tells us that the more the bloodshed, the worse the tension. There is simply no military solution to the Syrian crisis. Political negotiation is the only viable option. All warring parties must stop fighting immediately. Those organizations and individuals that reject ceasefire would find themselves on the opposition side of the Syrian people and the whole world, and will pay a costly price. The Security Council has already sent out a clear and strong message. Relevant countries, especially regional countries, should also leverage their respective influence to engage various parties of Syria and call for a meaningful ceasefire. Second, we must remain committed to the principle that the future of Syria must be independently decided by the Syrian people. No one cares more about Syria's future or knows the country better than the Syrian people, as Syria belongs to the Syrians. The political process should be Syrian-led and Syrian-owned. This is consistent with the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and norms governing international relations. I want to stress that specific steps in the political transition must be independently worked out between the Syrian government and the opposition representatives through negotiation. The process for drafting a new constitution must be independently decided by all parties and groups of Syria, and the future leader of Syria must be independently chosen by the Syrian people. Other countries could help in a constructive way. The international community needs to foster an enabling environment, and all parties should create a favorable condition for that. Third, we must remain committed to having the UN serve as the main channel for mediation. UN involvement would bring more legitimacy and authority to the process. It is the largest common denominator acceptable to all parties. By Security Council mandate, the UN will formulate comprehensive ceasefire plan and promote peace talks between the government and the opposition. We look to the UN to work on both fronts steadily as mandated and play a bigger role in consolidating opposition groups, coordinating international counterterrorism efforts and other areas. The international community should render cooperation and support and assist and complement the mediation by Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon and Special Envoy de Mistura in a constructive way. The ISSG should build on its previous efforts and continue to support the UN. Mr. President, since the outbreak of the Syrian crisis, China has all along held an objective and just position and participated in the settlement of the issue. China does not have or pursue selfish interest on the Syrian issue. No matter how we vote, for or against, the goal is always to avoid war and turmoil, give the Syrian people stability, give peace a chance, and make political settlement possible. What we are trying to do is to uphold fundamental and long-term interests of the people in Syria and the region